Be quiet if you can, mate. Well, looks like we live. Right. Welcome to one and all. E, you wanna open us up?
Yeah, let's do it. I was just monitoring the YouTube site, and I think there's a little bit of a delay. So.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna give us 10 seconds.
Cool.
All right, cool. All right, here we go. So yeah, welcome everybody to this National Day of Racial Healing event. We want to thank you all for being here, and we're super excited to dive into this panel of amazing artists. We're here to heal, we're here to support one another, and we're here to be inspired. So the way this is going to work is we're going to allow each artist their moment in the spotlight. They're going to share something about their work and about the significance of this day and their healing journey. And then we're going to dive into the Q&A. So any questions that you have, throw them in the chat. Don't be shy, and we look forward to getting to them.
For sure. I don't know about you, but I've been reflecting kind of like all week about what this day even means. You know, like the Day of Racial Healing, especially, you know, being from Philly, born and raised in West Philly, first ever hearing about this day as a result of our project, and, you know, just being honored and feeling really grateful that, you know, something that we were working on was able to be even part of making this a reality, you know, for the state of PA, for my family, for my neighbors, my friends. So yeah, it's been an amazing week to reflect. Also, in the midst of everything that's going on in the world, it's like not only that, but we kind of need this energy. We need to be focused on this type of stuff at the moment, especially community and leaning on each other, for sure.
Absolutely. Yesterday was a wild juxtaposition of MLK Day and Inauguration Day, and it's literally polar opposites. And so, yes, it is a perfect time for us to support one another, for us to heal, and also to borrow from, you know, the great words of artists, you know, of our elders, is artists are the truth tellers, right? You know, artists are the people who are not beholden to the commercial system and really create art in order to be a beacon of truth and of hope and of inspiration. And so I'm just honored to be here with these amazing artists and to focus on this event by elevating art.
For sure, man. For sure. So yeah, Eric and I kind of got involved in this whole Day of Racial Healing as artists. And I think it's dope. We should start off maybe. My house is not on fire, by the way. My wife is burning Palo, so now the smoke is getting all over the place. She's burning it right in front of me. But yeah, maybe we should just show a clip of the first ever Day of Racial Healing, and then we can rock on from there.
Cool. Let me set it up real quick.
Hit it.
Literally 3 years ago, almost to the day, it was ice-and cold, which it is, depending on where you are in the country. That's how it feels outside right now, right? Like you look out your window, there's glaciers. And that's how it was that day. It was windy, but we were out there with our masks on in the middle of COVID. Not necessarily because we're worried about catching a virus, but because it was so cold, to take your mask off was literally painful. But we bared it, and we had a beautiful event that warmed all of our hearts. And so, yes, let's share this with the people.
It is an honor to be here in Jenkintown today in observance of Pennsylvania's Day of Racial Healing. This day is an opportunity for all of us to pause, to reflect, and to rededicate ourselves to creating a stronger, a more just, and more unified Commonwealth. I believe that art can help us do just that. It has the power to ignite social movements, inspire communities, and heal divides. We've seen this time and time again throughout history. I think of the works of artists like Barbara Kruger, Keith Haring, and Kara Walker, one of my favorites, who have pushed the needle to reimagine how we talk about who we are, where we come from, and where we're going. This is what we see in Jenkintown through the symbol of solidarity, through the mural. It is a piece that is actively transforming a community, and it opens minds by sparking conversations that we can't always start with simple dialogue. Community art like this is a public representation of a collective feeling. It allows us to process the world around us and to connect with our neighbors. This is what art does, and it is why each one of us is drawn to it in some form. Art is profound, and art is powerful. Just this past year, I launched a statewide storytelling initiative called One Lens, Sharing Our Common Views. I created One Lens to give people the chance to reflect on their pandemic experience through photography, the written word, or even through voice messages. The wonderful thing was that we received over 1,000 submissions from 58 of our 67 counties. And these submissions told the story of our collective experience through every person's personal testimonies. These images and stories showed the hard realities and the hope for better days, the triumphs, as well as the heartbreak of civil unrest and the new beginnings, the loss, and so much more. What we saw in this process is so similar to what we're discussing today. In acknowledging those stories, we presented a new sense of empathy and imparted a deeper understanding of what this time looked like for someone other than ourselves. There were so many images that we thought that would be very different from each other, but there was so much that was common. There was so much that people shared without really realizing it. And so days like today are important because racial trauma runs deep in our Commonwealth and in our country. And it is not until we fully face it and give it space to be expressed and give it words and that we truly listen that we can heal our communities. As we watch the remainder of today's presentation and hearing from all of these phenomenal advocates, I challenge each one of you, I challenge myself to ask, how can I help? How can I contribute to racial healing in my community? How can I make it better? How can I solve it? And then just get up and do it. I thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Jarman.
Just get up and do it.
Get up and do it, exactly. And for those who don't know, that is former First Lady of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Frances Wolf.
For sure. I think now we should bring in our good friend and collaborator, Victor Cabral. And first of all, I want to give a huge shout out to the Symbol of Solidarity team. We'll get more into the film later, but I have to shout out Edna, who is a huge part of making this happen, Brian, who was the artist, Toya, who, spearheaded the whole thing, and Kat for helping us out, and all of the little people, as Toya refers to them, the kids who really stepped up and helped us put this project together. That being said, let's bring in Victor Cabral. What up, Vic?
Good afternoon. What up? What up? How you doing?
Doing well. Welcome.
Yeah,
What
thank
size
you.
is that sweater, by the way? We'll talk about that off camera. Anyway, it's a nice sweater. I like that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So this whole day of racial healing came together because you kind of caught wind of the project that we were working on. Can you tell us a little bit about what you were doing at that time? Working with the state of Pennsylvania, and how this whole thing kind of came about, that the Symbol of Solidarity film became a part of this day.
Yeah, sure thing. Yeah, I can't believe it's been almost 3 years now since we had the first day here in Jenkintown. But yeah, at the time when Edna actually had reached out, I was serving as the deputy director of the Office of Advocacy and Reform within the governor's office during Governor Tom Wolf's term, and had been working on a couple different projects with regard to racial trauma and trauma-informed care, which included looking at regulations in detention centers and residential treatment facilities, um, as well as putting together a trauma-informed care plan, which aimed to make the Commonwealth, transform the Commonwealth into a trauma-informed state. And through that work, out of that work, was born an organization by the name of HEAL PA. And through that organization, we were collaborating with over, I'd say, about 100 experts across the state. With regard to trauma-informed care, and just trying to really educate and center the experiences of the most vulnerable folks in the Commonwealth, and folks coming from historically marginalized communities. And so during that time, Edna had reached out and said, "Hey, we're doing this showing in Reading. I'd love for you to come." Edna and I have known each other for quite some time. Her and I worked in Reading together in the community, and so she invited me, and I was like, okay. I went with my daughter to the Goggle Works in Reading, Pennsylvania, which is actually where I'm from. I used to walk past that building every day going to school when I was in middle school, and then growing up literally around the corner. So I was familiar with the area. So I went to see the film, and it just so happened that there were kids from the neighborhood where I grew up in the movie, and it really touched me. And so I brought kind of the experience that I had back to the folks that I was working with, brought it back to um, Jen Wilburn, who at the time was serving as I think executive assistant to the First Lady, and who was working on an art project as well, statewide, which the First Lady mentioned in the video that you all showed, and they were excited about it. And so we put together this coalition to help highlight the film and highlight. It was important to First Lady Wolf to highlight important art in our state, especially coming out of the pandemic and the George Floyd protest, and some of the other things we were experiencing. And it actually culminated in Governor Tom Wolf signing a declaration making the day after Martin Luther King Day the first racial day of healing in Pennsylvania. Yeah, it's been a while. A lot has happened since then, and a lot is happening now. And I'm glad to be coming back together around this accomplishment, and also around this, I would say, call to action, right? Especially in the times that we're living right now. So appreciate y'all, and yeah, thank you for having me today.
Hey, that's beautiful. Clap it up, right? Bravo. To think that it started off as a painting, a mural, a film about the way that the neighborhood was reacting to it, with some people saying this is great and other people saying this is awful. And then, right, it culminates with the governor of Pennsylvania saying, we're going to use this film to help launch the first statewide annual Day of Racial Healing. That's incredible. It's literally a Hollywood, Hollywood story, right? It's a fairy tale story. It's like these things don't happen. So that's super dope. And we all learned what accommodation was, or at least I did. I had no idea. I'd heard the term, but I never knew what accommodation truly was. And we got to figure out how to get that piece of paper because I want to put it up on the wall. So that's the call to action for us. that's a follow-up. We got to get that thing figured out. I want like that old school paper, right? Since Pennsylvania, right, was the country was founded there. We got to get that old school paper with that they used to write on with the feather pens.
Nice. Yes. So Vic, what was the goal when you guys started to ideate and create what this day would be? How did you think? You mentioned it's been 4 years. What did you think would be happening on this day? What did you hope people would take away from this opportunity to reflect and heal?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think when this all happened 3 years ago, I think the goal was really, we had been working on just really trying to shed light on the trauma that folks from historically marginalized communities face, and how that impacts the way that they're able to show up in the world. And through that work, the goal was really to center that, so that the work that we were doing within the state, whether it was developing trainings or whatever we were doing that was for the people of the state, that we were making sure that there was a centering or an acknowledgement of that historical experience. And so I think at that time, that's really what we wanted to do, was really highlight what had happened, what has happened, what is still happening in this country. And as we were moving toward developing new ways of approaching issues, we wanted to make sure that we were talking about how do we heal, and not just pointing to the systems and the harms that they've caused, but also starting to have conversations about how we move towards healing. And I think since 3 years have passed, and I think I'm even in a different place now than I was at that time, in understanding that healing is really about realizing where our power is. Healing is really about building the capacity to sit in the discomfort, to sit in all of the suffering and all of the things that have happened and are happening in this country and across the state, to really be able to find our power and to metabolize that and to transmute it. And so when I think about the Day of Racial Healing, I think it's an opportunity and a call to action for us to have conversations about how we transmute and how we find our power within our individual communities that we serve, and collectively, so that we can start to do the work that we need to do for the future generations that are going to come after we're dead and gone, and so, yeah, that's where.
Beautiful.
I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So we've been talking a lot about this symbol of solidarity. Esteban, you ready to show it to folks, or at least have Brian explain why he created this image in the first place?
For sure, let's do it.
All right.
The symbol of solidarity is
basically, it started out from researching like, yo, we live in the United States of America. That was the first thing that came to mind. It's like, yo, we're united. Like, so what is united? And then I started to look at the motto of the United States, which is E pluribus unum, which means from many we are one, right? So from many different backgrounds, many different walks, cultures, all that stuff. But when you look at it and see what's going on, it's like, yo, we're stepping away from that. You know what I'm saying? So like, how can I create something that reminds us like of the, you know, how we should unite, how we should be the United States of America, how we're the melting pot, right? So I looked up symbolisms. I came across the actual fist, right? The fist of all parts coming together in firmness, power, and agreement, right? And then I was looking at different images, and I found this, I think this artist from Spain, he did this thing called the inverse drip. Like he was taking like fluidity shapes and making them like drip upwards. So I saw that, and I was like, okay, so I like how he did the colors. So then I just started to, you know, just do something organic. And then for the background, I thought about, you know, what E pluribus unum meant, and started to write, you know, for many we are one, equality, justice for all that stuff. Yeah, so all those different elements coming together, just did that painting, and then, yeah, that's how we got the symbol of solidarity.
And there it is.
Super dope.
Awesome.
And so from an 1820 by 24 painting to a 30 by 30 mural, and then you're launching the state's first ever annual Day of Racial Healing. Again, unbelievable.
Yeah, man.
So
Thank
that's super dope. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, thanks, Vic, for I don't want to say doing your job, but doing an amazing job in keeping your ears and eyes open and seeing what was going on and drawing the lines and connecting the dots, if you will, and thinking of us to include us on this day. It's a big deal to us. Like we were talking earlier about just reflecting on what it means, and wouldn't have happened without you. And I appreciate you, and I love continuing to support you in what you're doing and continuing to be a collaborator for sure.
Amen.
Yeah, the feeling's mutual, man. Appreciate you.
Word. And DM me or text me about that sweater.
I got it at Marshall's. It was like $10.
You lying. Stop it. Oh man. All right. Yeah, man.
So sorry. Yeah, and thinking about the power of storytelling, right? And about talking about how this symbol links, you know, what America stands for, right? Past, present, and then what we're hoping to build for the future. Let's set up our next artist who has taken an amazing story, a fictional story, created an audio drama series that this past summer won the Tribeca Film Festival. Yes, you heard it, the Tribeca Film Festival for Best Original Independent Audio Drama, Red for Revolution. We want to welcome in the creator, the writer-director, Jana Naomi Smith. Welcome, Jana.
Thank you, Eric, and thank you, Esteban, for, well, a lovely introduction, but also for hosting and facilitating this event. It was also so great to hear about Victor's work, and seeing Brian's art is all very phenomenal. So I'm just really happy to be here. As Eric mentioned, I am the writer, creator, director of the audio series Red for Revolution, which will be coming to wherever you get your podcasts very soon. So stay tuned for updates from that. But essentially, that audio series is heavily rooted into some of the similar themes that you heard spoken about with respect to symbols of solidarity. We're talking about love and liberation and justice. And it's a series that follows an epic love story between an apolitical jazz singer and a radical activist who happened upon a romance during the height of the Black liberation movement in the 1970s. And it's a multi-generational story of love, queer love specifically, and it's not lost on me, especially during a time such as this, that I have the honor and privilege of telling a bold story about queerness, about love, about Blackness, about liberation, and about our history. And, with respect to this day being the day of racial healing, a part of the healing is to be committed to knowing the truth and holding the truth. And it's just been an honor to be able to do that.
Awesome. And we can show them a little sneak peek, right?
Yes. Take it away.
All right, here we go. Rev for Revolution, sneak preview.
Hello, listeners. My name is Adrienne Marie Brown, and you are listening to a sneak peek of Rev for Revolution, the audio drama.
I'm Jasmine James, and I am figuring out my sexuality. And the only one I feel comfortable sharing that with is my favorite person in the world, my grandma.
My name is Ella Ali, and I'm working towards becoming a revolutionary Black woman.
Honestly, I thought she'd be disappointed in learning about who I am and who I love, but to my surprise, it turned out we have a lot more in common.
Did you tell your grandmother that you got in touch with the Lorraine Giovanni?
I miss Giovanni to some, Lorraine to few. I sing for the people and I spread the gospel for the Lord.
And my grandmother's alive and healthy, and she's willing to tell the greatest love story I've ever heard.
And Ella.
Ali, darling, everyone knows who you are. Revolution is today, and now it's just on the streets or at the church. It's at your home, it's at your door, it's in your heart, it's right now.
And my goodness, it's a story.
I know who you really been out there chasing after.
Did you mean what you said in those letters? That you love her?
The court doesn't have the final say over your life, Ella. If you want to be a sacrificial scapegoat for a crime you didn't commit, you can be just that.
Our comrade in the struggle, Joanne Sands, was murdered.
Did you know Grandma and Joanne dated?
No, I did not know my mother dated my dead mother.
She's told me detail after detail.
Stop that. She is not going to start a riot.
Ain't nothing wrong with trouble. This is justice.
You're a Black woman that people listen to that must feel wonderful, doesn't it?
I don't always feel like people are listening to me. I think that question should be directed to you. You're a Black woman with a lot to say, and a whole lot of people listen to you. Ain't it wonderful?
I've decided to make a podcast about my grandmother, and I'm so excited to tell the story.
Which color lip do you think I should go with? Nude or red?
Red. For revolution.
Woo! Okay. Can't wait. Bravo. Now, I recognize some of those voices. Can you share the names of some actors that you cast in this work?
Yes, I can. We have an incredible, phenomenal cast of very talented people. First in leading the series with Jordan Hall, who plays Jasmine James, who opened the trailer. We also have the wonderful Essie Patha Murkinson, who plays Ella Ali, the older version of Ella Ali, Jasmine's grandmother. We have Miss Loretta Devine voicing the role of Lorraine Giovanni, the present day Lorraine Giovanni, as well as Rutina Wesley voicing the role of the version of Ella Ali in the 1970s, and Renee Wilson, who voices the role of Lorraine Giovanni in the 1970s. And then you heard Jennifer Beals in there. We have Mr. Danny Glover, Aunjanue Ellis Taylor, so many incredible talent, Alimi Ballard, Vanessa E. Williams, and then our series Sonic Guide, you heard in that, is Adrienne Marie Brown. Some very good friends of mine, Kato Guzman is an incredible talent featured in the series, Miles, AG, another great actor. So we have, and much more. We have an incredible host of talented voices who help bring this series to life. And I'm looking forward to people listening and, figuring out who plays who.
Academy Award nominees. We've got everybody's aunties, grandmothers, uncles. I mean, wow, that's amazing. Bravo, just absolutely delicious. Can't wait to dive into this. And I love what you said about how your themes they reflect things that have happened in the past and also the present. And so and also this is literally a healing journey, right? It's about, like you said, an intergenerational cast coming to terms with who they are and also their connections with their elders. And so can you just talk about, what your, present journey looks like in wrestling with all of these issues within yourself, and then, figuring out how to turn that into beautiful art that you can share with us?
Well, of course, you posed a question relating back to myself. And, as a writer, you put all of your issues into the fiction, and let's talk about the fiction. But to answer your question, creating this project has been the way it relates to my personal life. It's been a profound journey with respect to healing, with respect to striving to heal. I think for me, as I mentioned earlier, even being able to boldly tell a story about queerness, about Black people, and about our history isn't lost on me. There are people talk about our ancestors and our elders who weren't afforded some of the opportunities that are before us today. So even being able to name and be as radical and, doing an independent production helped to lend itself to being bold and unapologetic in the way we tell our stories, but sort of being uncompromising, I think was a big part of my journey and journey to healing. As coming up as a Black American in this country, being taught to sort of adapt and conform was the way to go. And I was sort of able to liberate myself in telling this story, and I hope that it encourages other people to liberate themselves from that idea and that notion as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. So essentially what you're saying is you gave yourself permission to write your own story, and you're inviting others to do the same.
Exactly.
I love it. I love it. That's so gorgeous. Super dope. Well, thank you so much, Jana. And I mean, the chat is blowing up. People are saying that they can't wait for Red for Revolution. It's what they need right now. And so, yeah, we can't wait to dive into this.
Amazing. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So we're going to move into our next featured artist, Esteban. You want to set this up?
Yes. Our next featured artist is my partner in crime, although she does more of the crime and I I just hold it down. This is my wife, Kat, an amazing creative in so many different disciplines. She is a revolutionary. She is an author. She's a filmmaker, she's a podcaster, she's a publisher, but more importantly, she's an advocate. She is an advocate for any and all people who are underrepresented, marginalized, and most importantly, she wants to tell stories and get people's stories out there. And she really holds space and makes sure that everyone feels important and that everyone's voice is heard. So we're going to hear her voice right now, but I'm going to set it up with a few of her projects. So bear with us. She's got a lot of projects. No, I'm joking. So some quick videos to show you a little more about what she does.
Hello. I don't know how to say it. I can't really pronounce it. Oh, yeah. I forgot. Guys, no. Kalayan. Kalayan.
Hello. Are we on?
Yeah.
Oh, hi. So first, I just want to say thank you to Esteban and Eric for holding the space, the work that you guys do. I'm a little bit emotional, to be honest. I feel like, I don't know why, actually. Whew. So I'm very grateful to be here because this book was inspired in 2020 when the hate crimes were happening against the Asian community. And I wrote the book for my younger self. And to your point, Victor, earlier, I transmuted the pain that I was feeling in the moment because, my husband's Black, my children are half Black, I have Black friends. And so it really hurt me. And I really thought, I'm like, okay, they don't know who we are. And then I thought, well, we don't know who we are. So how can we expect anyone to know who we are if we don't? So I wrote this book, and I do believe that children is where change starts. So I was hoping that through these stories, the Kalayaan is a book about 9 Filipino heroines who fought in World War II. And I want our younger girls to know who we are. I had a lot of identity issues growing up because I didn't grow up with a lot of Filipinos. So she was written, and Jaina, one of the women in here, she would always wear red lipstick before she would go into war. So I also resonated with you with the Red for Revolution. I thought that was awesome. So yeah, and then Future Ancestors is also a podcast that we are cataloging our stories now, giving our people their flowers now, and hopefully, really putting our stories out there so people know us and we don't have another round of hate crimes against us. And I really want to push the narrative of, having one oppressor and us really all coming together. And maybe that's why I'm a bit emotional. The space that you're holding right now, I know that it's small right now, but this is where it starts, right? And I'm hoping that, through all of our stories, look at the great people that we have in here. We could stay connected and keep going and fighting the good fight. That's it.
That was beautiful, Kat. Thank you so much. And thank you for having the courage to be vulnerable, right? I think so many times we've been fed this narrative that to be strong means that we never show emotion. We never show, right, that like, hey, it hurts to be, hit. It hurts to be cut, whether you can see the blood or not, you can feel the wound. Oftentimes the emotional wound is much more difficult to overcome than the physical one. So thank you for demonstrating that and really giving us all permission to be vulnerable, right? Because there's so much strength in that. And I love what you said about let's recognize that we are the majority and that we do have a common oppressor and that we're, again, like the fist, right? We're much more powerful together. So I love it. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm going to walk now. Cry in my corner.
She said she's gonna go and cry in the corner.
Hey, that's cool too.
Oh man, yeah. But I'm not sure if Emmeline, are you around? Are you in the place? All right, there she is. I wanna bring her in.
Welcome, Emmeline.
Hi, Eric. I was told to say hi to you. Someone named Grace
Thank
Lee.
you very much thank you for exposing me. I it's a condition that everybody is nice to me to participate. So thank you.
Well, my friend Grace Lee, who founded the organization I'm a part of, specifically said, "Please tell Eric I said hi." So
yes, Sony Music. All
yes,
right, I love it.
That's right.
Hey, right behind me. That's from that era right there. So
Well,
I love that.
yep,
I love
totally. It all kind of comes.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah,
Well,
yes.
welcome. And yes, please tell us some more about the amazing work that you are doing. We can't wait to hear about it.
Well, first, thank you both for having me and for this just event in general. I feel honored to be here. The Asian American Collective was founded in 2020, right before the pandemic. And 3 executives in music, my friend Grace, and then 2 other women executives in music, decided to form this organization to create a space for young Asian Americans in music, to build community, network, just be there for each other because they saw the need for that. And then literally we started in 2020 January, and then the pandemic hit. And all of these crimes, and Kat, I'm going to get emotional too. All these crimes were happening against Asian people. And that literally became the foundation for our organization. We started a petition to get laws passed against these hate crimes. And like literally overnight, we had thousands and thousands of people rallying around us and just helping us with this mission. And since then, it has grown tremendously. We provide networking, mentorship, not just for Asian Americans, like just anyone in the industry that either wants to network or meet somebody. And we've created this amazing, beautiful, safe space, which has grown exponentially. And I'm just super proud of the work we do. We tell stories, that have not been heard, of Asian Americans that have like broke barriers in music, that, the first ones that ever started in music that were like interning for Motown Records. Like, it's just been an incredible journey. And I'm just so proud to be a part of this community.
As someone who has attended the parties, it is welcoming. It is beautiful, diverse people. The food is bomb. But I feel like, in your efforts to create a beautiful, safe environment for the Asian community, you found alikes and people from all, all over have come to support and, and hold you down. And that was the beautiful thing, to see. And that's what this day is, truly about. Our communities have to, support one another, work together. Emmeline and I go back, I won't say how many years because she looks a lot younger than I do, but to MTV in my early days there. She's always been, the same, supportive, ready to help. And, not from a position of, how can I leverage this or what am I getting out of it? But just because that is, who you genuinely are. So I think it's dope. I just saw, was it Zena yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday I got to chop it up with one of your co-founders. Another one, someone that I've known for years and years and years. Didn't even know that you all knew each other. And again, just a kindred spirit for sure.
Yeah, see, and that's what's happening, right? Like now all of our communities are kind of finding connections and just becoming stronger, which is what we want, right? Like we are stronger together. We are a stronger voice. We're more powerful. And even yesterday, we had a real, in real life event, and we were all like, we are going to be intentionally joyful because that is our act of resistance, like collectively. And it was just so nice to have that space yesterday because a lot of non-Asians, it's just a mix of community coming together and being supportive, just like this, right?
And what are some ways, speaking of that, what are some ways that we can support, each other?
Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of our organization, we are always doing in-person events or trying to, because I think people have shied away from that, but we do see power in that. And again, like actually building community from the ground up. And so we just ask that you follow us, come to an event, say hi, meet new people. I mean, even for me, it's like, I also didn't have a lot of Asian friends growing up. My parents immigrated from the Philippines. They wanted me to be American, but American to me was Jamaica Avenue. It was hip hop. It wasn't what they, their vision of America. So it's like, it's been a collective kind of us finding ourselves, building community with other communities and just continuing to push forward. So we just ask that you follow us, show up at an event, say hi. we're already connected. I see, you know, even with you, Eric. It's nice to meet you, but I know we have other connections, I'm sure.
For sure. Well, that's super dope. Love that.
Thank you.
All right, so you know, Emily, we're gonna put that into practice right now, actually, and
Okay.
I'm gonna lead us in an exercise of radical imagination. Right, we're gonna empower ourselves, and so whether you have a piece of paper nearby, you have your phone, computer, whatever, pull up something that you can write on. Right, again, whether it's physical or digital, it doesn't matter, because I'm going to lead us through a brief breathing exercise, and also we're going to relax our body, and then I'm going to pose 2 questions to you, and then just write down whatever comes up for you, because that's what you need, and then we can use that to go into our discussion portion of this event. So here we go. Whatever you're doing, whether you're seated, whether you're standing, whether you're lying down, I just want you to take a few deep breaths. I want you to relax your shoulders. So bring them up to your ears, roll them back, and just let them slide down into the natural position. Relax your jaws, right? If you can, you know, give your jaws a massage, and just really let them relax. Allow your tongue to relax in your mouth, right? Oftentimes we don't realize how much tension we're holding in our jaws, in our mouth, in our throat. And again, just take a deep breath comfortably, and then a long exhale when you let it out. If you can, please close your eyes, and again, open yourself up to your own imagination. Feel yourself, see yourself floating in a sea of light. There's no difference between you and this calming light. You are the light is you, right? You're one with your surroundings. You're at peace, you're free from judgment, you're free from doubt, you feel courageous, you feel enthusiastic. And in this state of complete liberation, ask yourself these 2 questions. What support do I need in order to heal? What support do I need in order to heal? And just allow whatever comes up to arise, whether it's more questions, whether it's something that you see, something that you feel. If there's a block there, okay, that's fine. Just breathe. And now here's the other question. What can I offer to others in support of their healing? What can I offer to others in support to their healing? And again, just let whatever comes rise, and then whatever answers you have, or whatever feeling or feelings you have, write them down in your journal. We're just going to take a few minutes to experience this, right? We're one with this calming light. This calming light is one with us. And we're just allowing ourselves to tell ourselves, right? We're writing our future. What do we need to order in order to heal? And what can I offer others in support of their healing journey? All right. Go ahead and wrap up your journaling. You probably have a lot more to chew on, but that's great because you can always come back to this, right? Remember, you've empowered yourself to do this, and so you can do it at any time, anywhere. And now, we want to welcome back all of the artists that are participating, and then everybody who's tuning in. And we want you to let us know, what is it that you want us to discuss? What are your questions? What's something that stood out to you? Right? Because one thing that we can do right now actively is, we can build community amongst one another, and we can support people's questions, their comments, whatever it may be. So, be brave and be bold and let us know what's on your mind. I see in the chat that somebody stumbled upon this. Yes. Hey, we're glad that you did as well. Welcome. Radical imagination is dope. Absolutely. Yes. Intentionally joyful. And our emotions can be healing. Absolutely. All right. So to the panel, what's something that you all felt, that's really resonated with you? Let's start our conversation there. So your mics are all open. So dive into the conversation. What's resonating with you right now? And or maybe something came up for you. What can we offer anybody here in order to support their healing?
Well, one thing that I thought of was that, it's you're never too late to unlearn the things that we learned growing up. I feel like I had to do a lot of that with my book. So that's something that I don't know where everyone is right now in their journey, but it's never too late.
Yeah. The lies that we've been told, right?
Yeah.
And they're, as long as we believe them, they're true. And then we realize, oh, wait a minute. No, not at all. So yes, it's never too late.
You muted, Vic.
Oh, so is Jana.
Share that, you mentioned someone put in the chat intentionally joyful and radical imagination. And those two things feel really important, especially when we're talking about art and the power of art and the moment that we're in. I think it's important for us not to fall into despair or hopelessness, and I think one of the ways that we do that is by engaging with our imaginations in radical ways and imagining imagining new futures, imagining new possibilities, imagining new ways of being that can move us toward collective liberation. And I the other day I came across this post that really kind of landed in my body in a strong way, that said that that being hopeless and being in despair is a privilege. And I was a little confused by it, but I spent some time with listening to, I believe it was a video of a creator, and I wish I remember who the content creator was so I could share here. But it talked about all of the folks in this world that don't have the privilege to despair or be hopeless because they're trying to survive. And so yeah, and I think the way that we practice, the way that we avoid falling into those traps, right, is if we can, right, if we have the space to, is through imagining and through being joyful on purpose, being grateful on purpose. And so yeah, that just felt important. Those two terms, when you mentioned them, that they were in the chat, really stood out to me, and I just wanted to share that bit.
Super dope. Thank Thank you. Yeah, it reminds me of a conversation that I actually had with a friend who is Asian, and we were talking about, again, the really ugly behavior, you know, that people felt empowered to publicly demonstrate and you know, to abuse other folks. We were talking about it, and I said, you know, what I realize now is that we have the privilege of shouting that which the ancestors could barely whisper, right? If you think about less than a human being's lifetime ago, right, our elders could barely even whisper about these issues, right? They would be physically attacked, they would be fired, they would be canceled, right? And now we have the privilege of, you know, having a live stream conversation about this stuff. And so I love what you said, Vic, about we have to choose joy. We have to choose gratitude. And that's the power that we have. And I think that when we do that, we empower ourselves.
I love that.
Hit it.
Oh no, I also wanted to mention that I really love what Kat said about it's never too late to unlearn. And I think doing the work of educating oneself and unlearning a lot of the conditioning and a lot of the internalized white supremacy that we're all fed, to do the work of undoing all of that. And that work isn't easy. It can be very challenging to do, and it can be hard to sort of reckon with everything that you knew or everything that you used to survive. Maybe not everything, but perhaps a lot of those things are untrue and may not serve you at this moment in time, and sort of starting over and stepping into a new version of yourself, a more liberated version of yourself. It may sound great, but doing the work to do that isn't an easy thing. But it is a much more easeful process when it's done in community and having people to lean on when you feel like you might be going crazy, or when you are watching the world, when you're watching the world unfold and people who are participating and being complicit in the things that harm us, and you're sort of wanting to remove yourself from that. Leaning on people who have been where you are, I think, is really important, because it can be easy to, Victor's point, fall into despair. It can be easy to become hopeless when you're dealing with fascism, when we're watching multiple genocides unfold, when you watch the world burn, or when you've lost everything. It can be easy to become hopeless. And I think this sort of act of choosing joy and choosing hope aren't necessarily, or even falling into despair. If you feel yourself becoming angry or frustrated and leaning more so into the despair and the resentment, if you're going to be over there, maybe participate in the collective anger, participate in the collective outrage. And I think when we are collectively coming together and holding space for all of our emotions, but also holding space for the emotions of the people in the moment, then those emotions can be productive and lend themselves to the necessary change. So if you're in despair, if you're outraged, if you're sad, gravitating towards community to help you come out of that and to be productive with those emotions, I think could be really helpful. And it can be helpful particularly when you're doing the unlearning and trying to gravitate towards something new.
All of that. Unlearning was definitely, it's hard. You have to be very gentle with yourself while you're doing it, because you wake up and you're like, everything that I knew is wrong. And it's your parents who taught you. But then that's the whole other thing, because then they had to go through their own thing, and you just have to give them grace where they were. But thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, one of the big unlearnings, I feel like, and this was obviously by design, the divide and conquer and separating of us as different, marginalized communities, as if we're not all one community, in real life, as Kat mentioned earlier, under one, oppressor, so to speak. The fact that Rev for Revolution you know, the lipstick line in that tied back to the Philippines, to, you know, another revolutionary who also saw that as an act of protest, I felt was dope. And there's so many of those, you know, through lines and connective tissues that we have. We are so similar to, you know, to each other. And there's so many ways that that we can not only collaborate, but that we can relate to each other. So I think that that's been, you know, one of my favorite things about exploring other cultures and getting to know other people. Is not only like learning new fly stuff, but just seeing how much we actually have in common. And those teeny little things just remind us that, you know, we are one, for sure.
Absolutely. That reminds me of what you said, Emmeline, about how, you know, you're like, hey, my family is from the Philippines, but I'm Jamaica Ave. You know, I'm hip hop, and I love that. And so, you know, I'm going to invite you, and I apologize that I'm putting you on the spot, but I just love that. That bars to me, and it just like, it's also the I can hear the music of it, right? I can hear Jamaica Ave, I can hear the music. So, you know, would you please unpack that for us?
There's a lot there, Eric. So I think this happens a lot to Asian people because, you know, when we immigrate here, they kind of don't want to rock the boat. They want to assimilate. So, you know, my parents, Kat's generation, her parents, like that was kind of the way. And so for my family, they wanted to be American. My parents were like, you're not Filipino, you're American. And so that was such a crazy mind F, like, wait, what? Like, but American to me, again, is I was on Jamaica Ave getting bamboo earrings every week. Like I was on the dollar vans. Like, you know, our versions of America were very different. So there's unlearning and then learning. And like, you know, my dad kicked me out when I was 17 because my boyfriend was Black. So, you know, for me, this whole process has been, you know, personal, very personal. Like, learning, unlearning, opening up, you know, creating space, listening to other stories, not feeling alone because I felt alone. I've not shared my story a lot, you know. So it's healing every day for me, literally. Like the community that we've built has been, it's given me a new life. And I can't, you know, Kat too, she and I have become friends, and just hearing her story has been more powerful. So there's just, again, all this learning and space that I've had to create for myself and for others. And I have not felt more powerful than I do now.
I love that.
Oh yeah. Hey, we got to write that down. That's a bar right there. Never yes. Right. That's the crescendo. Like,
yeah.
Boom, drop the bass.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've been rocking for an hour. You know, it is Tuesday. It's not Martin Luther King Day, but so I got work to do, and I'm sure a lot of us have work. But thank you so much for joining us for this powerful hour. Thanks to everyone in the chat and all of the folks who have been streaming and watching. Yeah, I mean, I definitely saw in the chat that we needed this, and, you know, this needs to go to schools next, and all of these other types of ideas on how to keep something like this going. So we'll ideate on that, and, you know, this could potentially be something that happens again, not just once a year. But yeah, thank you all for the amazing work that you've all done.
We have this before everybody bounces.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget. So go back to the same website where you registered. We will, you know, push it out on the socials. We're going to make sure that we have links to everybody who participated, socials, their projects. So you can go to one place. You can find everything. That's going to be up, you know, right after we get out here. So yes, you know, let's continue to build this community. Let's invite people who weren't able to make it live to, you know, to join us, and let's collaborate. Let's support each other. And hey, let's remember our favorite 4-letter words, right? Hope, love, and heal.
Bye.